My state is blue, and so therefore I'm not going to vote because it's blue, and therefore it stays blue because people don't vote. If every Republican in California votes, you'll win. If every Republican in New York votes, you'll win. If every Republican in New Jersey votes, you will win.
Although all these people kind of have the same thought process, they are very segregated, right? You have the gun owner in New Jersey that's an avid hunter, right? He's like,
He's busy hunting.
He's hunting. He's living his life. Maybe he's a business owner, right? He's doing $10 million of revs. He's a very busy guy, dad, husband, whatever it may be.
Here's the unfortunate thing that's probably going to happen unless we're careful. You know, after Carter, you had Ronald Reagan, and you had this period of wealth and success for our nation. And I think a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, America's like good, like we're fine. And that's when the Democrats started taking over. They took over from the bottom and they infiltrated our higher education and our school boards and our city council. And they built the bench. And what I mean by that is,
dude, we all have the best time ever to start a small business.
If I'm not going to be 100% in, I'm not going to do it.
Come on, man, just be yourself.
Yeah,
and just show up as yourself.
If you don't realize what I'm really about, I'm about freedom, family, and my country.
Scott Presler, welcome.
thank you.
Really, humbled to have you. You've been doing amazing things. To be very honest, I just learned about you this year and the amazing work that you did in Pennsylvania to help get out the Amish vote, as well as a ton of other Republicans registered. And I think you're a great American, patriot, freedom lover.
Thank you.
And here in New Jersey, one of the things that Fireside America is very determined to do is flip this state red. There's a lot of great people here who love freedom in New Jersey. I think it gets a bad name and a bad rap. I know we got the plastic, we don't have any plastic bags here and the paper straws. You're not a fan of the tolls. Maybe Spady or Jack could fix that for us if they get in there. But again, I'm really excited to have you here, learn a little bit about your story, early vote, and help other people in our ecosystem learn how they get involved with helping others get registered to vote here. And I think this is going to be a great chat. Thanks for being here.
My pleasure. Well, you know, I think of New Jersey like California or New York, that it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because people go, gosh, my state is blue, and so therefore I'm not going to vote because it's blue, and therefore it stays blue because people don't vote. And so my message is, as we start this today, this fireside chat, is to the viewer at home: if every Republican in California votes, you'll win. If every Republican in New York votes, you'll win. If every Republican in New Jersey votes, you will win.
I agree. And you're going to help us do that. So I want to, before we get into how you do that and how your PAC is helping that and your team, I want to know about Scott, the guy, right? Where are you from originally?
Jacksonville, Florida. So my dad is a retired Navy captain, grew up in Neptune Beach. So I'm the original Florida man. I am that when they say Florida man, that's me.
Yeah. You love Florida still?
Yeah. I mean, we got good leadership down there, right? We got Governor DeSantis, and now it's it used to be the quintessential swing state. Now it's a ruby red Republican state. And I know that we're going to go into this, but again, it was done through voter registration. So grew up until 4th grade, and then I went to Virginia, grew up in Northern Virginia, which is basically like the Camden or the Essex of Northern Virginia of that state, and graduated 3.63 criminal justice from George Mason University.
That's awesome. Did you enjoy college?
It's okay.
Just all right?
It was all right.
Did you always have aspirations younger to get in politics? Or?
No, I wanted to be, when I was growing up, I wanted to be an Egyptologist, and I wanted to go to Egypt. Oh yeah. And then I loved marine biology, and then I wanted to be a cop. So
I'm not going to pass over that. What is an Egyptologist?
Just studying Egypt.
Just studying.
Yep, like the Sphinx and the pyramids, and you know everything that has to do with.
How did they make the pyramids back then? I mean, with
that's a great question.
Equipment.
Well, I've heard that the pyramids actually might be magnets. that they've done research on the electromagnetic capability of the pyramids, but that's a whole nother discussion.
Do you think there was like structures in other countries as well as maybe the U.S. that was here kind of prior to us?
I'm not going to theorize.
Yeah, that's a good answer. So you come out of college. What was your first job?
Let's see what I do. I worked at Giant, and I pushed carts in the hot, sweltering sun in parking lots, and that was at Giant. I also worked at Abercrombie and Fitch. Oh yeah. And I even worked at a gym, a tennis and racket club. And after I graduated college, I couldn't find a job, so I was walking dogs for a living. And then I worked at an elementary school. So I've kind of had a very eclectic past in jobs.
So what were you doing in the school?
Just the front office. I was administrative assistant, so I had 800 kids and I had 1,600 moms and dads. And we had a population of 70% Hispanic, 10% white, 10% black, 10% Arabic. And so I actually had to learn Spanish to talk to the families there, because some of them were from other countries. And even when we had immigrants coming in from Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan, I learned a little bit of Arabic to be able to communicate with them. And I think this job empowered me to do the work that I'm doing today, because it forced me to be a really good people person.
Yeah. What did you learn most while in that job? Is that where you kind of started to say, like, hey, maybe we should make some changes here in this area and then have it grow from there? Or?
I'd say it taught me grace. I'd say it taught me patience, and I'd say it was probably one of the most rewarding experiences, because here I am, this 6'5" guy at this school, and here we had pre-K through 5, and Mr. Scott, you're a giant. The kids, they were just really sweet, and I earned the respect of a community that this area, I was the only Republican there, and I was a Republican, back then in 2013. But despite my political ideology, the parents, the students, the teachers knew my heart was in it for the right reason, and so I earned their trust and their respect. And when I left, they had to send out a letter to the whole body there saying, Mr. Scott's going to Texas. And even the Arabic families gave me flowers when I was leaving the school there in Alexandria City Public Schools.
That's a testament to who you are. I think that's what this country needs right now, is to kind of come together and realize that some of us that may have different personal lives, different parents that came from other countries, different religions, we all still are here for freedom. And just like you did in PA, you went into the Amish, call it the Amish country there in PA, and got however many Amish out to vote for Trump in the main election, saying, hey, we actually have more things in common than we do that are different, right? You went in there,
Sure.
you talked a lot about what we put in our body, right? The right to go get the education that you desire, the right to believe in whatever you believe in your religion. Can you talk a little bit about that and how you've been able to really cross those different lines and help bring people together to register for the Republicans?
Well, I think ultimately the Republican Party has failed. People say to me, Scott, how do we talk to X minority community? Like I'm some arbiter of speaking to this diverse population. And I'm thankful that people see me like that. But I think it shows a disconnect that people don't feel empowered to do this work on their own, which is why I travel the country teaching people how to register voters, how to knock on doors, how to talk to people. But I think the failure is the Republican Party just got to show up. If you want members of the Jewish community to vote Republican, go to Lakewood, go to Passaic County, show up in the community and say why you think the Jewish community should come over and vote for Republican, or show up with the Amish, or show up with the black community, or white working conservatives, or show up to veterans, etc. So really just show up, be authentic, be earnest, and ultimately court a voter. If somebody's Second Amendment I'm going to say to you why the Republican Party is going to support what you care about the most. If I talk to the Amish, I'm going to talk about school choice and religious freedom and raw milk. If I'm talking to veterans, I'm going to talk about stopping the anti-war machine and being a pro-peace party and have a president that we didn't have any new wars. If I'm talking to young people, I'm going to talk about the fact that the Democrats in the state are doing the affordable housing program, but really we know that property taxes are so outrageous here in New Jersey that it's actually forcing property owners to become property renters. And it's pushing people out of Jersey. And so therefore, the people that are stuck living here, then your property taxes and your taxes are going to go higher, which is going to push more people out. And it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So moral of the story is talk to the voter, court them at their level, and tailor your message to what they care about. And that's what I do.
I think a lot of the conservatives for a long time, so someone like me dresses in a flannel, wears a MAGA hat, a lot of times somebody who
That's
walks...
a Republican.
Yeah, Republican, right? But it could be a Democrat too, right? It could be anybody. You can dress however you want. So for example, we have the gay community over here in Asbury, right? And I know a lot of friends that have businesses there, and those people might have had, so we've been told, Biden signs on their front lawn, but they went in the booth and pulled it for Trump. You're a gay conservative, right? You don't hide that. How do we get more of that community out to say, like, hey, the guy over here in the flannel is not somebody who's some closed box Bible thumper, not that I don't believe in God, person, right? How do we bring those types of people together? Because I think when we come together is how the country wins versus what the media does and what, the shadow government does. It pulls us all apart. How do we do that?
Well, I think you're doing it right now. Well, I want to make it clear, gosh, I'm an American, I'm a conservative activist, and, to the liberals and the leftists, I'm so much more what's in between my legs, and I'm so much more than what's in between my ears and who I'm attracted to. And I just wish people would stop looking at Americans, in that way. But I get it.
They get the fear in them.
Well, they have to fearmonger. The Democrats are losing control of every minority group, and the only way that they've been able to secure minority votes is by fearmongering to them that Republicans are the boogeyman. And the last thing that I want to say about this, and then I'd like to move on the sexuality thing, is look, you're using your platform to bring me on, and so therefore, if anything, that's showing a flannel wearing, beard, cigar smoking, guy in New Jersey is willing to share his voice and his platform. And so therefore that right there is showing anybody else, okay, we're willing to have all voices on this program.
Absolutely. And we are, because we want to help flip the state red. That was a great answer. So as you progressed through all of these different jobs and you're working in schools, you go down to Texas, when did politics come into your peripheral vision?
Well, I've always been politically observant. I mean, so my ma and dad, they used to be real staunch Catholics. But gosh, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but this Pope, he's awful. This Pope is terrible. He's antithetical to everything that I believe, even as a Catholic. I mean, he's pro-illegal immigration. He's pro-open borders. He's pro-socialism. And look, I wish everybody health and wellness, and I wish no ill will on anybody, but I just think that he is not a good representation of the Catholic Church or Catholic beliefs. And so it's been I'm an Eagle Scout. I've lived a life of service, and I say that humbly, and I say that non-egotistically. I've given back my whole life through community work. My dad is a Navy captain. He's given his whole life. My grandfather is a Navy captain. He gave his life. My ma's dad, retired military. My ma's brother, uncle, military. So my family has heavy military service, and so I've been observant of their service to our country and the continuous fight for freedom. And but it's been an evolution. Some people are like, Scott, have you always been a Republican? And yes, I have, but I voted for Mitt Romney. and I voted for.
I did too.
Yeah, well, I mean, what choice do we have?
Obama.
And I voted for John McCain. But, you know, although I am a party guy and I am a Republican and I will vote Republican, and we do have a primary coming up on June 10th in New Jersey, which we'll get to, and I hope you vote November 4th, no matter who our Republican candidate is. On June 11th, we come together. But there's a difference between a Liz Cheney and a Lisa Murkowski and a Susan Collins and a Ben Sasse versus a Donald Trump. And there's a difference between a globalist Republican and America First Republican. And I think that is the biggest eye-opener that Republicans are finally seeing, that if we're going to make changes, and true change comes from getting involved in primaries and choosing your ultimate November candidate and not allowing a small minority of Republicans that are neocons or globalist or open borders or free trade and not fair trade, then not allowing that minority to dictate your party for you. And that's what's happening to the Democrats right now. The Democrats are going so far left because a minority in their party is controlling who, did you just see they picked David Hagg as the vice chairman of the party?
Yep.
David Hogg has said that the Second Amendment is the right to, firearms are not a right.
They're like
it's
tone
in
deaf.
our
They're like
Constitution.
tone deaf.
It is the Second Amendment.
I don't understand it.
Well, and they're doubling down.
Yeah,
and
they
good.
really-
When your enemy is making a mistake, let them. So David Hogg, you're doing great, my friend. You're doing great, buddy. I support you.
I also saw another
I hope
report that
they elect
Kamala
you
is the
chair.
front runner, and I said, that's great. Like, let her run again in 2020.
No, please. Oh, please. I ask two things. I don't pray for well, I do. But I don't pray for this, but please make Hillary Clinton the nominee in 2028.
That'd be amazing.
Or Kamala Harris. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a lot that we can unpack there.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, listen, it's good. You have a lot of great things to say, and I want to learn about those things. But where did you get involved in politics, right? Because I think the problem is we talk about primaries, we talk about people not getting involved. Even myself, I'm not somebody who loves authority, right? I'm not somebody who comes into the situation and they're like, I got to walk, talk, and act a certain way in politics. Even interviewing some of these candidates that are running in the primary race, sometimes it seems like there's an old school set of rules that people have to follow. I don't follow those rules, right? I follow freedom and what allows me to have freedom. So how did you find that window to go say, I'm going to get involved? And again, obviously you were observant, you were paying attention, and maybe you didn't like what was going on. And a lot of people in this country, definitely a lot of people here in New Jersey, don't like what's going on in our state. How did you get involved? What was that first step that you took?
Yeah, well, I'd consider myself a disruptor too, but I think ultimately, and I'll get there, but I would argue that in addition to needing disruptors, we just need people to take action. Look, like I don't mean to be disrespectful, that's not my intent, but how many people do you hear every single day complain about New Jersey and complain about the policies and the politics and the governor and the fact that you're a one-party ruled state? The next time somebody complains to you, I'd really like you to ask them non-antagonistically,
That's hard for
with
me.
a pure heart. Okay, I hear you. What are you doing to change that? What are you doing to impact real, long-lasting change to actually make a difference? Are you registered to vote? Do you vote in the primaries? Are you involved with your local Republican Party? Do you knock on doors? You know, all that kind of stuff. I mean, really, I think that's the thing that makes me different from other people is if you see a problem, you become the solution.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I'm wearing my boots because my first job was in Texas in 2014. So I'm working at the school. I'm walking dogs. Obama gets reelected. And I'm like, oh my gosh, our country's going in the wrong direction. So I was like, Scott, you're going to get a job in politics in 2014, and you're going to help Republicans either A, take back the Senate, or you're going to help win gubernatorial elections across the country. So let me give you a reminder. I'm pretty sure, fact check me, I'm pretty sure Democrats had the Senate in 2012. 2014 was our opportunity to flip the Senate from blue to red, which we did. And it was a really big year for the Republican Party. And we even won Senate seats, I do believe, in Colorado and Illinois, somewhere in there. We won the governorship as well. It might have been that year in 2014. I could be wrong. But regardless, that was when I got my start in politics with Governor Abbott. And I just went, wow, I'm making a difference. I love what I do. I'm good at what I do. And I want to stop Hillary Clinton from becoming president in 2016. So immediately, I spent all of that time, in addition to Governor Abbott, to making sure that she was defeated and that we elected Donald Trump in 2016. So for me, I'm a forward-thinking, long-term person. And yes, I, of course, wanted Donald Trump to win, but for me, it was about the Supreme Court. It was 4-4. Justice Scalia died, God rest his soul, his spirit. And so therefore, whoever was the next president of the United States was going to ideologically control our rulings at the highest level of the law in the land. And I did not want that to be Hillary Clinton.
So you just worked with Abbott and then you continued
And I went straight into it.
Yeah, you just continued to run. And again, let's just break it down for the average person that still has a career, right? And they don't think they're going to go give a full life of civic duty like you're doing, which I thank you. It's a lot of work. You deal with a lot of probably difficult people at times in politics, right?
Thank you.
And I appreciate what you're doing, but getting to the registration and learning how to help just get your community. Let's just say it's your neighborhood, it's your country club, whatever it may be. How do we get more people registered?
Well, you look at, so my motto is there are more of us than there are Democrats. I just think that, well, think about it. Put yourself in the place of a conservative for a second. What does it mean to be really a conservative? That means that you want the government out of your life. Who are those people going to be? Those are probably your people that are off the grid, right? Those are your hunters and your farmers and your churchgoers and your moms and dads. And you want less government, less authority, more freedom, and fewer people badgering you and telling you what to do, right? And so even thinking about our Second Amendment folks, and I'm not saying this disrespectfully, but when the right tries to adequately or rightfully so show that Democrats like Governor Murphy are coming after their Second Amendment rights, what is the difference between the reaction of the left and the right? The reaction from the left when the left fearmongers against minority communities. Oh, we have to come out because the Republicans are racist and disenfranchising and they don't want minorities to vote, prosper, whatever. But on the right, which is not true, by the way, and I want to say that very frankly, of course it's not true. We want the right for everybody to prosper.
Freedom.
And we don't care about your color, creed, etc. But on the right, if you try to say Democrat Governor Murphy is coming after your gun rights, which he is, think about our flannel-wearing, bearded, toxic masculine, and which I love, men who are going to be like, they're not taking my gun out of my cold, dead hands. Are
Amen.
they taking my weapon?
They could try.
Exactly. But it's that mentality, although at its core, that we are independent, we are fighting for freedom, and I love that that sense of autonomy. It's to our detriment because the left so far has been better at organizing their groups to get involved. With the right, we are much more likely to be isolated or to ourselves and think of the individual as opposed to the collective. And so simply understanding the difference between how the left and the right think and perceive of themselves gives me a better understanding for how to tack to those communities and go, okay, let's go to churches and get 30% of Christians to vote that are not registered. Let's get the 250,000 gun owners in New Jersey that are not registered to vote.
Which is
to
crazy.
Vote. Let's get the farming community that wants to make America healthy again. And God bless our new HHS Secretary, RFK Jr., and let's get the moms and dads that don't want pornographic materials in their schools and whatever. The whole moral of the story and we've had this discussion previously, is find the need of the voter. Don't fearmonger to them, but talk about how to empower them.
Yeah, what they want to do.
And if you can empower them through the vote and ultimately protect their 2A, or protect their children, or protect their job, or protect their religious freedom, or protect their ability to just flourish as a community, that is the way that we're going to be successful going into the future.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that. I never thought about it that way, but although all these people kind of have the same thought process, they are very segregated, right? You have the gun owner in New Jersey that's an avid hunter, right? He's like,
He's busy hunting.
He's hunting. He's living his life. Maybe he's a business owner, right? He's doing $10 million of revs. He's a very busy guy, dad, husband, whatever it may be. He's not sitting there going, oh, I need to go pay attention to the primaries. And I think
Correct.
Frank would probably know this best. I think the people who get out and vote in the primaries in New Jersey is a joke. It's a very small margin that these congressmen or women or governor candidates are winning by, because no one else is coming out and voting. And that's why I want to utilize this platform to say, hey, if you are someone like me who is a gun owner, right, and I'm a registered gun owner here in New Jersey, and you are an avid hunter, like, you should be getting involved in your community, helping others get out and vote, or at least getting yourself and your family members out to vote, or maybe your people inside your church, right? And wherever that may be, we can't sit here and sit back any longer and go, oh, it's just going to fix itself. No, it's not. As hard as you work on hunting, as hard as you work on shooting, as hard as you work on being a dad, we need to work that hard to get out and vote and use your voice or your platform or your dollars, however you can, to help do that here in New Jersey, because I think it's possible.
We'll just revisit history. Here's the unfortunate thing that's probably going to happen unless we're careful. After Carter, you had Ronald Reagan, and you had this period of wealth and success for our nation. And I think a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, America's like good, like we're fine. And that's when the Democrats started taking over. They took over from the bottom and they infiltrated our higher education and our school boards and our city council. And they built the bench. And what I mean by that is those smaller positions, people often become members of Congress or perhaps even governors or senators or even presidential candidates, but you start out at a lower level. And my fear is people are saying, oh, we're good. We got Donald Trump in there. We have the House, we have the Senate, we have our cabinet positions. I fear that like that quote about weak men create hard times create strong men create good times, and good times create weak men. I'm afraid that after Donald Trump, we are going to have good times and we are going to have weak men, which is going to create new Democrats that are just going to create the cycle that we're in. And so that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm here in New Jersey, because I need to create momentum from our win in 2024, continue that into the midterm elections, because if we don't win the House of Representatives in 2026, they will impeach President Trump on day one in 2027, and his entire legislative agenda to govern is he is a lame duck, and he will only be able to govern via executive order. And so my mission for the next 4 years is to protect President Trump's agenda, his legacy, and his ability to govern, and it runs through winning the New Jersey governorship on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. So I want to round this out because I know you're a busy guy and I appreciate your time. 2 questions I ask everybody, because you're a business owner in a sense, right?
I am.
You're running a pack. You're traveling around this state, but you've been all around the country. If you could tell a young individual that's watching one thing that would help them be successful in chasing down their goals, what would it be?
I'd say you can never dream too big. And gosh, it's so cliche, but I just look at my life. No dream is out of the question, and no dream is worth not pursuing. And I don't care how many times you fail, you keep knocking. Let me give you an anecdote. I really wanted to work. This is actually a really bad example. I wanted to work at Enterprise so bad.
Here's a great company.
I just wanted to work there. And I applied over and over and over, and I didn't get the job. And I was so depressed. And my mom was like, and I didn't even have long hair back then. She's like, it's because you didn't get a haircut. So, Ma, I still love you, even though you have that opinion. And I remember being so depressed, but had I got the job, I would have never worked at the elementary school, and I would have never gotten the gifts and ability to talk to people, which set me up for success in Texas, which set me up for success in 2016, which set me up for success in doing the work today. And so every failure is an opportunity to have a new venture open up to you. And also, I never thought that I would be sitting here with 2.2 million followers on X and having to help deliver the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania for the 47th President of the United States of America. I never thought that would be my life. So to the young person, live your dreams, follow your passions, and if somebody tells you no, I mean, I'm a Taurus, do it anyway.
Yeah, I love that. Second question, if you want to give love to anybody who's been a great mentor in your life, which I'm sure your mom and dad have been, who would that be? Who do you want to give a shout out to?
I mean, of course, Captain Robert Presler, my mom, Carol Presler. I mean, every speech I open up, even at Butler, I first, with Laura Trump and Air Trump on stage, gave homage to my parents, to my mom and dad. Well, and not necessarily a mentor, but I learn a lot from my audience. I would not be sitting in this chair. I would not be able to do what I do without my 2.2 million. To every person that follows me on X and Insta and all of my social media, to every person that's had me sleep at your home and cuddle with your animals and drink and eat with you in your beachside homes in New Jersey, you know, thank you. You have given me a voice that, if it weren't for you respecting me, I wouldn't be in the position I am to make an impact and to affect change.
Well, you're making a big impact. I want to help. My community wants to help make an impact here in New Jersey, especially to flip it to red. However we can continue to help you and early vote action, we're hearing it. I really appreciate your time. This was great. Cheers.
Well, I would like to do, please, a call to action.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Okay, so to all of my New Jersey people, please, I want you to check your voter status. You can type in New Jersey online, check voter status, and I want you to register to vote today. Register to vote at your current address. And if you're not registered with a party, it's so important. We just talked about educating the populace who may not know this. New Jersey is a closed primary state. So if you like conservative policies, like I said about Second Amendment and strong borders and lower property taxes, affordable housing, etc., then I encourage you to register as a Republican and vote in the June 10th primary so you can choose your candidate that will go on to November 4th, 2025. And if you are not a fan of Democrat Governor Murphy and the anti-2A, anti-property rights legislature that we have, then consider voting Tuesday, November 4th, and let's have a conservative change of leadership here in the Garden State.
And how can they find you on X and Instagram?
And you can also, if you would like to support our work, we do need your financial help. I have 23 staff on the ground. I want to hire more boots on the ground. Any dollar raised in New Jersey will go to New Jersey, and that is a promise and commitment. You can donate at earlyvoteaction.com. That is earlyvoteaction.com. It again will not go to hair conditioner or other hair supplies. It will go directly to boots on the ground. And no, just thank you for the opportunity and to health, wealth, happiness, and to a 2025 and to replacing Governor Murphy with a Republican governor.
We're ready to do it. Scott, thank you for your time. I appreciate
My pleasure.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.